first question I'm going to ask, who believes that the war started with Lexington and Concord? Mostly everybody in here is reenactors, so I guess they would guess.
I think one of the biggest problems people face when they study the American Revolution, they believe that
The war started there, and the British didn't know it was coming. The British definitely knew it was coming. At the end of the French and Indian War, I think one of the things is the Americans finally understood they could stand up on their own. They fought with the British against the French. I think when you do go into war, you kind of have a certain expectation that, the British are going to respect you a little bit more than they would. So the independence movement, to me, started, at least the seeds of it were laid during the French and Indian War. And I want to read you some of the things that happened before Lexington and Concord. In 1765, the Sons of Liberty are formed, and they adopt the Declarations of Rights and Grievances, which the king promptly did nothing with and ignored. 1766, the first Liberty Pole goes up in New York. Now, here's where it starts getting a little touchy. 1768, HMS Romney sails into Boston Harbor. Why they sail into Boston Harbor? Because the customs officials and the tax collectors couldn't get the money, so they sailed the ship in with his contingent of Marines and sailors to enforce the taxes. 1770, the Gold Hill incident, which was in New Hampshire, the Sons of Liberty and British troops fight for the first time, and several are wounded, but one is killed. So this is before a lot of the other things happened. 1771, the Battle of Alamance, so it's in the Carolinas are familiar with that, and the Regulator movement. 1772, they had a, well named for New Hampshire, the Pine Tree Riots. I really couldn't find a whole lot on it, but I didn't have that much time to look it up. And then the Watauga Association was formed right here. 1773, Boston Tea Party. A lot of people look at the Boston Tea Party as kind of the first protest. I've already read you several other ones. 1774, this is going to be reminiscent of Lexington and Concord. They had a thing called the Powder Alarm Conspiracy in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where the British actually went and took a powder magazine that the local militia was controlling. They didn't want the local militia to have that powder. They figured, hey, no powder, they can't revolt against us, everything will be wonderful, it'll be good. Well, we know how that worked out. 1774, also the First Continental Congress. You have the Suffolk Revolt in Massachusetts, and in Suffolk County, Massachusetts, and then you had the capture of Fort William and Mary, December 14th, 1774, at the harbor in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. That fort was guarding the entrance to the harbor, which is where the tax collector happens to be. I've actually been to the tax collector's house in Bermuda, so I know exactly how they were set up. The British only left like 4 guys there to kind of take care of the fort and keep it up. The local militia said, yeah, no, you're not, so stay here, and kicked them out. So we had combat before Lexington and Concord. Yes, it was minor stuff, but it did happen. So, yeah, the British by this time were kind of getting a hint that something was wrong. 1775, of course, you have the Battle of Lexington and Concord, and the British had put troops there as 1774 to quell the rebellion. So the British knew it was coming.